Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of the Fantastic Mr. Podcast. My name is Justin Strange and I am joined by my lovely co-host, Zach Briggs.
Hello.
And Jerome, as he wants to be called now.
Yeah,
Jerome
welcome to the podcast, guys. I'm getting
Kramers,
fancy.
a.k.a. Jake. Jake is Jerome. Jerome is Jake. I just want to go ahead and throw that out
Yeah,
there.
I had to use, I have to start using my adult name for jobs and life in general. So it's probably easier just for everyone to
Wait,
go over to that.
so you're not just using it on the podcast, you're using it elsewhere?
Yeah, no, that's what started it is I've had to start using my legal name
Interesting.
for like real life stuff. And I figured, well, if I'm going to start using my legal name for
real life.
for that, I might as well just make everyone use it, make it simple.
So Jake Kramers is on a different Earth, is what he's saying. And Jerome is actually the Kramers that lives with us on Earth.
Yeah, Jake's
what
on the
Earth are we-
planet with no responsibilities.
I think in the Marvel universe, we're Earth 616, right?
I thought we were 616.
That's it, 616. It's the same thing. 616,
Oh, yeah.
616.
There
Yeah.
you go.
And then in DC, what is our Earth? Is it Earth 0? No, Earth 0 is different, isn't it? Jake, or not Jake. Zach,
many
I'm talking
Too
to
many
you.
Earths. I don't know,
Okay,
man.
so anyway, it doesn't matter. So today we're going to be talking about video game movies or TV shows based on video game properties, and just kind of discussing what we like about them, our favorite ones. I got a few lists I'd like to talk about, and a few other things I'd like to talk about. And so, yeah, just what we like, what we don't like, our favorites, our least favorites, that kind of thing. And so let's start off with a very, very easy question, guys. And we'll start with Zach. Zach, what is your, if you can think of it, your favorite movie or TV? Well, let's start with movies. Movie based off a video game.
Hard to say because I think
Well, because
One of
there's
the
so many good ones.
one of the things that pops into my mind when I think of video games being adapted to TV or film is that a lot of them just suck. That's
kinda hard
the
to-
straight answer. But there's some guilty pleasures out there. I'd say lately the Sonic movie, and we have the sequel that came out. That was fantastic.
Mhm.
I enjoyed the overall look of Sonic. And remember in the beginning when we saw the first images of Sonic,
trust me, I remember.
It was horrendous, and people were up in arms. And usually this doesn't work where people complain, and it's amplified on social media, and it results in the creators to actually listening and changing the design. But maybe it was a publicity stunt to get more eyes on the movie, because I mean Sonic the Hedgehog, what are we talking, 1990s, right?
Yeah.
I think that was one of my first games to play on the Sega Genesis was Sonic the Hedgehog. I still had the hard shell case for the game, and the cartridge and everything. It's one of the games that really sticks in my mind. But seeing those characters, at least in the second one, you have Tails and Knuckles.
Yeah.
I believe Tails being voiced by one of the original voice actresses from the games and some of the shows. That was also kind of a cool nod for those that are kind of really into
Sonic.
video games and voice actors, because I mean a lot of the shows that have already been established in the Sonic universe have been animated. So have seen live action with obviously human animated elements. It was pretty neat, but I was kind of disappointed to a degree. Just I knew it wasn't going to be like this for the Sonic show, but I was hoping for just kind of in the universe of Sonic without the human element. But then again, that's kind of what is drawing people to enjoy the movie, I think, is the relationship with the guy in Montana.
And Sonic.
But what did you guys think of the Sonic films, the live action ones?
Well, I have to say, if the original song design was a publicity stunt, then they did a very good job.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
That drummed up a ton of attention, which ultimately is just what any studio wants, good or bad. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was a publicity stunt.
Well, I think
But yeah, it looked like the original guy looked like Sonic's like meth addled cousin.
Exactly.
Have you guys seen the Chip and Dale movie?
No.
Okay, well,
I've seen clips of it. I know he's in the Chip and Dale movie as well.
Yeah,
Which
so
let's just talk about
Chip and Dale's
how amazing and difficult it must have been for Disney to get a hold of all those third-party characters.
you know Randy
for
Marsh was
essentially a nothing film. What?
I said Randy Marsh was even in that movie. You know who Randy Marsh is, right? That's Dan's dad from South Park. He was in that movie. I thought it was so funny to see him in that movie. Yeah, they had Ugly Sonic in there as like had his own booth at some sort of con.
It's like a washed up Comic Con.
Yeah.
Pay $5 for an autograph type
picture of him. Well, you know, I read that they tried to get Jar Jar Binks as to be that character, you know, because he was so like universally hated by everybody, so they wanted to get a character like that.
Not by me back in the day.
Well, I think George Lucas and Disney were like, no, we don't want to do that. Like one of the
they probably still have plans. They have a spinoff. They have a spin-off film waiting for Jar Jar.
Oh, I'm sure. So
something in the waiting room.
I thought that was
in the back room.
I thought that was pretty interesting that they were going to use Jar Jar, but instead used Ugly Sonic.
Jar Jar.
So yeah, as far as the Sonic movies go, like I was invested from the beginning. Yeah, I was like, oh, this Sonic looks like crap, but I'm still going to go see this movie, you know?
Yeah,
because it's
dude. I read somewhere, and I have no idea if this is true or not, but I read somewhere that there is still a cut with Ugly Sonic. And I really want them to release it. I really want them to release the Ugly Sonic cut. Maybe if we get a super special deluxe edition with Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and then like just for laughs, like the Ugly Sonic cut.
That would entice me to want to buy
I would buy it.
I would absolutely.
Blu-ray or whatever.
If they put it in a like a hard case or like a metal, you know, like a metal
Steelbook.
What do you call them, Justin? You collect them a lot. What are those called?
Steelbooks.
Steelbooks. I couldn't think of the word.
Yeah,
you cut out there.
Yeah, if they put a steelbook with those in there, oh my! I said if they put a steelbook together with those films, oh my God, I would run at the store just to have it.
And that would help drive up sales, I think, having that as a for people to watch. Kind of like we have all these other versions, like the black and white version of
Logan
Justice League.
Yeah, and I remember the Saline County Comic Expo. They had some of these 11x17 movie posters and stuff, and I was flipping through them, and I got the Sonic the Hedgehog poster, but it was the previous Sonic before they changed it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm buying that, and I actually hung it up in my classroom when I taught in Memphis. So yeah, I thought that was I was like, I got to get this, and so yeah, if they released like even if they put it in the Sonic 2, you know, or even if, like you said, Jake, if let's say they make a Sonic 3 and they decide to release all of them on one like collection, and then they're like, and for, you know, shits and gigs, let's add this Ugly Sonic cut. I'd be like, I'll pre-order that, son B.
I would absolutely order that.
I'm hoping they in the third movie, if they make one for the Sonic movies, they have like a little cameo of Ugly Sonic in some fashion.
Oh, I doubt it. Oh,
like he drinks a potion or something, and looks weird.
Well, yeah, like Sonic say, that's not me.
Yeah, or like a keychain.
Like Mega Sonic.
Well, Sonic 3 looks promising. I don't know if you guys watched the end credits for Sonic 2. Spoilers if you haven't seen it, but Shadow the Hedgehog is in the end credits, so I was pretty excited about that. Like,
I want Metal Sonic. I want Metal Sonic to come to life. That'd be nice.
His name is Metal Sonic. I almost called him. I was going to call him. I don't know what I was going to call him. I was going to call him Chaos Sonic for some reason, but that's the Emeralds, the Chaos
Sonic. Yeah.
But Chaos Sonic.
What did you think about like the fictional town in Montana being called Green Hills, named after the first level?
I mean, I thought it fit it
That's
pretty well.
pretty cool.
Yeah, because
And it looked like Green Hills. I mean, it's green.
well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it looked like Green Hills. It looked just
Yeah.
like it, just grass everywhere, you know. So I
Yeah.
thought it looked okay. I mean, it fit the part. Okay, Jake, what about you? What's your favorite video game movie based?
Oh
off-
man, probably going along with Small Furry Creatures. Probably Detective Pikachu.
Oh.
I really like Detective Pikachu.
yeah, that was a pretty
It's
cool movie.
fun.
Yeah,
Mm.
I think that's the
I
one
like
good
it.
one thing about video game movies is like they're more some of them are more fun than they are just like good. Like Detective Pikachu had an okay story, but it
It
was
needed
cool.
a story. Yeah.
Well, it was cool because you see these memes and it's like when we were kids we got this and it's the on one side it's from Super Mario Brothers the Goombas and they're if you guys seen the Super Mario Brothers movie the Goombas are like these walking turtles with small heads and then it's like and kids nowadays get this and it's like a perfect rendering of Pikachu and it's just like I was like man I wish we would
That's gonna be the Mario movie.
well I think the Mario movie is gonna be animated but even so I'll see the Mario movie. I mean, it's got Chris Pratt in it. I'm hoping he does good things.
I remember when the trailers came out for Detective Pikachu, people were already complaining about, where's Ash Ketchum? Where's the Professor Oak, etc.
Well-
People were perhaps expecting a live adaptation of the cartoon.
Well, no, they're wanting a live adaptation of Pokemon. Detective Pikachu is a separate, completely separate game on the 3DS. And so, and even in that one, I haven't played it, but I'm pretty sure he can talk. Pikachu can talk in that one and everything. And it's a completely separate story from Pokemon. So the people who are wanting Pokemon are, it's like, dude, it's not.
So normies like me were deceived in a way.
I guess if you don't know what
I played
Pikachu
all the
is.
games.
But even with that being said, the Pokemon fans, I think, still got what they wanted out of just the incredible designs from all the Pokemon. Like they looked so
like
real.
Yeah.
Psyduck, the Mewtwo, like
Mewtwo,
Pikachu
was awesome.
were amazing. They were all fleshed out and looked real and exotic and like it was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And that was really fun for me because I wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon when I was a kid. I was a very sheltered homeschool Bible Belt kind of guy. So I wasn't allowed to watch Nickelodeon, Disney, Cartoon Network. My channel was PBS. If you want to talk about if you want to talk about Arthur,
I love Arthur. The early seasons.
I can go ham on Arthur.
Caillou,
learn
maybe.
About,
Caillou.
No, I hated Caillou.
Oh, the little bald guy.
Caillou.
He was kind of annoying.
I apologize. Caillou stands everywhere. Was like Cyber Chase. I can go all day on Zaboomafoo. So all like the wholesome educational television is all I was allowed to watch. So getting to watch like Detective Pikachu was real fun for me because I didn't get into any of that stuff until I was probably in my late teens, early 20s, just because I had to go back and catch up on all the stuff that I've missed out. Like Justin, you're always calling me out and like, oh, I haven't watched this. You haven't watched that. How could you not? I was like, dude, there's still stuff that I'm discovering.
Interesting. I had no idea.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah, you should have told me that at the beginning so I don't be like, dude, why have you seen this? Instead of being like, I'll just let them rip on me for a while. I might do it anyway.
I fully expect that.
Yeah. Why would? Well, there's stuff that I haven't seen that people are like, dude, you're a filmmaker. I'm like, so what? That doesn't mean I go out and watch every good movie.
There's so much
classic movie.
Like even the fact that we're talking about video game movies just goes to show just how much content is out there. There's literally a movie based off and for everyone.
I mean, there's a movie about the creation of Facebook. And actually, there's a movie, I think it's on Paramount or something, one of those other streaming sites, about the making of The Godfather. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, dude, you guys can't find any more content.
I'm going to say, though, I haven't watched it, but I have read some of the history of the making of The Godfather. And
I'm sure it's interesting.
Dramatic.
I'm just like, man,
Have you seen the Godfather movies?
I've seen the first one.
I've seen the first one. I need to finish the rest.
And I did really enjoy, especially Marlon Brando's performance. I really adore Marlon Brando. But like, I've seen the first one, and I mean, I get it might have been a dramatic tale of getting the first one made, but it's like, do we really need a movie about it? Let's throw out a documentary on it. I would love to see it behind
Yeah, I
the
like
scenes of it.
documentaries. Mhm.
But a freaking movie? No, I'm good. I'll probably never see it. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, going back to Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite films just because the cast is so great in it. You know, you've got Ryan Reynolds, Justice Smith, Catherine.
Yeah.
Oh,
You got Ryan Reynolds. That did it
you got
for me.
Bill Nye.
You got Ryan Reynolds.
Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds. He's like
You
the
got
same.
Ryan Reynolds.
Plays himself essentially.
That is true, but like
Does good
who
what
he
he
is
does.
is great.
Yeah.
He's enjoyable, and it's one of those films that I think it is Ryan Reynolds, and so there's kind of like this childlike, I don't know, attitude to it that really appeals to the young kids that are watching it. And obviously it's Pokemon, but it's also Ryan Reynolds, so people of all ages just kind of enjoy him.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. Cool. So I guess I'll tell you mine. I think mine in the last few years would probably Mortal Kombat. The 2021
Check.
Mortal Kombat. I remember when it was announced, and I was I was super excited. And Tomb Raider was a pretty good one too, but Mortal Kombat I think is probably my favorite.
Oh, the recent Tomb Raider.
Yeah. With Alexandra Vikander, whatever her name is, Alicia Vikander.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Mortal Kombat. I liked everything about it. The only thing I didn't care for was the creation of Cole, the newest character. I was like, we don't need him. But the director's decision behind that was, every new Mortal Kombat game, there's new characters, so we create a new character. I'm like, well, can you create?
Well, that's kind of.
I mean, it makes sense, but it's like, can you create someone cooler than Cole? Like, I don't know. It's everything about him. I was like, I don't need this guy in this movie. And another thing I didn't care for was the fact that like the first Mortal Kombat movie from the 90s focused on the original Mortal Kombat characters in the original game. This one, like, it didn't go just, Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Raiden, it just pulled them all out, even from games from like Deception and what's the other one? Deadly Alliance and all that stuff. Like, it just, from every game, it just seemed like it had a character from it. And so it was kind of interesting in that regard. But
does Mortal Kombat have an overarching narrative to that? Because again, I've only played one game. I think I've mentioned this before. I only played parts of one game at a friend's house before my mother discovered us.
Yeah. I think
So all I know about it is literally you just get people in a room and they just beat the hell out of each other.
I mean, that is our purpose for playing Mortal Kombat. But like overall, there is a story, even in the video games, that goes all the way up to Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe, which is technically Mortal Kombat 8. And then Mortal Kombat 9 rebooted the franchise. So now it's 9, 10, 11 are kind of their own story now. And so, yeah. And so the movie, the newest movie is they're trying to do like a pre-tournament. So every game there's a tournament, with to decide who wins. And after so many wins, after 10 wins, I think whoever wins that 10th win gets to rule all the realms and all the stuff. So they're doing like a pre-tournament, post-tournament. So Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3, if that makes sense. So the first one, I don't know if you guys have seen the newest Mortal Kombat movie, but it's pre-tournament. So no tournament actually happens. They mention the tournament, they gather the fighters for the tournament, but we don't get to see the tournament. So the next movie should be, the tournament. And then after that, the third movie should be.
So would that be like a prequel to the first video game?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to put it that way, like if you put the video games and the movies together, then I mean, yes and no, because the first video game only has 5 characters. This one has like 20, from spanning different video games they're pulled. So I don't know. Probably not.
So it's an amalgamation,
I guess.
Would you say Mortal Kombat's the more popular movie from a video game? Because Tekken, that's also a popular fighting game series, and there's a 2010 movie.
Are you specifically talking fighting games or just video game movies in
Fighting
general?
games,
Oh,
because
then,
Tekken
yeah,
has a
probably.
similar premise in terms of the
Yeah.
fighting through rounds of people. But it's interesting. Like each character, if you've played the games or a lot of these fighting games, Street Fighter, Tekken, etc., they like each character has their own story. But
Yeah.
I wish we had more of that in like the live action, like where they just focused on those characters instead of bringing in like new characters. Like I mean, I'm
Yeah.
just I guess a nerd when it comes to wanting to see certain characters on screen without having these I call them distraction just for
Characters.
just I know they're trying to have people understand and try to relate to these new characters perhaps, but I feel like people could relate to already established characters. But I don't know.
That was kind of my thing, was like if you're going to bring in a new character, make it more interesting than freaking Cole, it's like, or just don't, but you know what? Yeah, that's why I didn't make the movie, so what am I going to do? I still really enjoyed it. It sounded really good. Like it was really good. It looked really good. All the visual effects, especially Goro, which if you know who Goro is a big four-arm monster. Like he looked awesome. And that's one thing that the director mentioned was like, he's like, we're really focusing on visual effects because it's got to look good, because the Mortal Kombat 2 or Mortal Kombat Annihilation from the 90s looks like crap, so it's visual effects look like crap.
Yeah,
so
visuals. Who cares about the story?
Yeah. So, well, the story was good, but I'm glad that they kind of did both. I mean, the visuals kind of overtake the story, but their story still isn't that bad. Like it's not like it's like, okay, we're going to focus on the visuals and crap on the story. It's like, okay, well, we're going to have a pretty good story and really good visuals. So, I mean, I appreciate that because that's where our movie, Hollywood movies are heading. What is CGI? So at least they made it look good, So,
if nothing else, sure. So, what do you guys think about just video game movies in general? Do you feel like they are generally pretty good, or are they generally crappy? I feel like they get a bad rap most of the time. Are most video game movies bad?
So, I think they've gotten good here recently. Even like Assassin's Creed, it looked cool, but the story, I don't remember it wasn't that memorable to me. So I think with Detective Pikachu and Sonic and Mortal Kombat, I think they're finally getting the hang of making video game movies where, they look good, they are good, they sound good, and all that stuff. So yeah, I would say very recently.
I would agree with that. I think they finally figured out that just because they're making a movie off a video game, they can't just rely on the video game. They actually have to have their own script and their own story that works outside of the recognition of the video game title. Yeah. Don't you agree?
Well, that's why they call it an adaptation, because it's not like, okay, let's look at The Watchmen, which isn't a movie based off a video game. It's a movie based off a comic book, but essentially and I haven't read the book, but from one of my teachers told me it's essentially reading the book on screen,
It is.
And so it was an okay movie. It was okay to me. I thought it looked good and all this stuff, but I didn't care for this. I mean, it was fine. Crap. What was I talking about? What were we talking about?
We were talking about whether or not video game movies are generally bad. Okay.
But why was I talking about, because you said doesn't rely on the video game. Sorry. So you look at shows like the Halo TV show, it's about Halo and there's Halo things and there's Halo characters, but it kind of follows its own story with Master Chief taking his helmet off and he's kind of becoming more emotional by taking his little thing out. Have you all seen that show?
Seen the first episode and I turned it off.
So he takes his little chip out of his back that keeps him from being emotional. So it helps the emotion in the story. It's like,
is that in a video game? I don't remember that.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like they took it, and that's why it's called an adaptation, because they adapt it for screen. There's some things that are in video games or books or comics that just won't work on screen, which I understand. Let's hope to God that they don't take it and ruin it. But
okay, you're getting worked up.
Oh, okay.
I'd get worked up too talking about Halo.
Well, it's like, in the Halo show, it like everything else, it looks great. The guy who plays Master Chief, I think they did a pretty good job picking him because he kind of sounds like Master Chief. But the whole it follows the game sort of, but it sort of mostly doesn't. They kind of did their own thing, and it's okay. Like I haven't finished it yet. I think I have 1 or 2 more episodes to go.
Yeah, I think Halo purists like me to a degree are in general not too happy with the game just because of
you mean the show?
The show that just goes off its own script, and the creators even said in multiple interviews that they're purposely doing their own story, and it's its own universe from the books and the games, which that's fine, but be able to do it in a compelling way is a different story. And just from a cinematography standpoint, I feel like it kind of came across as a fan film, and that's not bashing fan films for whether it's Halo or Star Wars, but I've seen a lot better stuff elsewhere. Just some of the visuals and the set pieces look too clean. It was kind of off-putting at points, and then the whole emotional whiplash of Master Chief, who's generally, at least from the games, known as this guy that's more subtle and doesn't express himself too much.
Right.
I wish they would have taken the movie or the show from the approach of maybe some just normal soldiers, and then we hear of this legend called Master Chief that swoops in occasionally, and there would be a little bit more mystique of the character. I know people will say, "Oh, he should be the main character." Well, the main character in this show, it's not working out, at least for me.
You only got to 1 episode,
and the absence of the score from the Halo series, other than in the trailer, is mind-boggling. And I believe there was some disagreement between the person that scored the original music. So that's kind of one of the big reasons as to why there's this generic sounding sci-fi-esque score.
When you say the person that scored the original, are you talking about the person that scored the original for the video games, or they had a composer and then got someone new
for the video games?
Oh,
yeah. It's in the title, the opening credits, but it's only at the very beginning. Like it does, like when it opens, it's that familiar tune we all know, and then it kind of does its own thing. So like that's that, and some of the sound effects are really, and I mean some of the things like Halo and the suits and all this stuff, like and planet, some of the planets, like, and all that stuff like is there. But yeah, you're right. They're taking it and kind of running with their own story.
It just feels like a generic sci-fi show with the name Halo slapped onto it.
What about the Flood? Are they in the series at all? Have they gone into that?
No. Remind me, who's the main bad guy? Not the main bad guy, but the main
Arbiter?
No, the main bad the aliens. What are they called again?
The Covenant?
The Covenant, thank you. It's the Covenant. Mostly. I haven't heard anything about the Flood or anything. So, but I mean, I think I have 1 or 2 episodes to go, and I think it's okay. Like, yeah, I'm not like you, Zach, you're a Halo purist. You love Halo. I like Halo a lot, but I don't like it as much as you do. And I do have a friend who loves Halo as well. Has played every game, and he likes the show. So I don't know. It's just it's.
I mean, even just from a production standpoint, it pales in comparison to, like, for example, The Mandalorian. Which is a Star Wars on Disney Plus show, and it's just superior in writing, acting, etc. I feel like some of the acting in this Halo show reminds me of the stuff you see on CW, just too soap opera. So what do you guys think would make video game movies more enjoyable to the audiences? I mean, what's the issue you think in general when it comes to these films, and why they're generally not received well?
Man, I just think that for a long time, production companies, not necessarily writers, I think production companies just see video games as a cash grab. These production companies see these games as cash grabs. So they just get a whole bunch of writers in a room, make them come up with something, slap a video game name on it, and think, oh, that's going to make us a ton of money. They don't really put in the effort because they believe that the name itself, the notoriety of the game itself, will bring people into theaters, and they don't really worry about the content or the authenticity, the production value of these films, because they think they can get away with it. And I think here recently, like Justin said, they're starting to change. I think they're starting to realize that, especially our generation who grew up on video games and have kind of grown up consuming stories from every possible medium, have developed a more refined taste, and that we're not going to go see a movie just because it has a video game title on it. We really want to go see a movie that's a good movie, and we can appreciate that it's based off a video game without just accepting that it is what it is. We still want quality.
Just kind of piggyback what you said, Jake. I think that's exactly what they do with not just video game movies, but movies in general. So you have like these movies that have several sequels, like Transformers and Fast and Furious and all this stuff, where they're like, okay, we need a bunch of money coming in, so let's make another one of these movies, which, you know, popcorn movies essentially, are big budget movies, so that we can make millions of dollars, and then just make all this money so we can do other things, which is a good thing. It just depends on the other things that they're trying to make. So like they'll make a movie, another Fast and the Furious, so that they can rake in a bunch of money so they can do some smaller projects, which is great. But it's like, can you at least, like, if you're going to make another one of these movies, can you make the story a little better? Like even with Detective Pikachu, like this, the reason why I say the story was okay is because it's like, it's another one of those things where it's like, okay, we got to put everybody into a Pokemon. Like that's the whole thing, is they want to turn everybody into Pokemon. I'm just like, that's so, like, I don't know. That has to be something else that you can come up with besides turning everybody into a freaking Pokemon. You know?
Yeah.
It looked awesome. It looked great. I just, like the story was okay. It wasn't a bad story. It just wasn't, anything to write home about. Like, oh man, I just watched Detective Pikachu. What a great story. Doesn't happen that way. Even like the Transformers movies, when I saw them, I'm like, oh yeah, these are awesome. The reason why they were awesome is because it's Transformers, and then going to school for film and learning how to study a film and stuff. You're like, man, these stories aren't that good. Like, they're just real surface level stuff. Like, we have to get here to do this. And they try to add, like with the most recent one, the last night, this is Transformers again, they try to add a little thing with Cade Yeager not having a wife and his daughter being off to college, and he's kind of alone. It's like, great, but they didn't. And then he meets a woman, and then they are together. It's like, I don't know, the real surface level stuff. So if they could, like, figure out how to make these big budget movies that look awesome, and these video game movies that look awesome, but also give us this, great story. I don't think it's ever going to happen, but if they could figure that out, man, they're good to go. Because that's exactly what they're doing. They're making these movies. Sonic the Hedgehog. I only went to see Sonic the Hedgehog because it's Sonic the Hedgehog. Luckily, I like the story as well. Like, they made Sonic a real likable character. You felt for Sonic. He didn't have any friends. He was alone. And then all of a sudden, he has a family. He doesn't just have friends. He has a freaking family. And then in the second one, he gets friends that are like him. So it's like, let's put some emotion into these stories, and thank God it was Sonic the Hedgehog, because I might not have seen it if it wasn't, So,
but even then, it was only that way because the outcry that the public had the if this is putting aside if whether or not this was if I'm going to start over.
Okay.
But that's even only because of the outcry of the audiences. Because if we hadn't had such an outcry on the original design of Sonic. Look how much effort they were putting in to Sonic originally. We were going to have like a demented blue raccoon.
Yeah, that could walk.
Yeah, it was literally just another cash grab.
Mm-hmm.
But they actually saw the amount of care that people have for the Sonic franchise that they decided to put some more effort into it.
Yeah.
I really, really, really want them to release that original cut with Ugly Sonic, because I want to compare and see how much of a difference, if for no other reason, how much of a difference the passion of the audience made in forcing them to make a better movie.
Yeah. Well, they did change stuff like in the movie too. Like originally there was a huge electric worldly power outage because he was racing himself on the road. Well, then they changed it to him circling those bases, really, really fast. So they changed stuff in the movie too. And I think that was because of them having to change up Sonic as well. I don't know why, but I think, we're changing up Sonic. Let's do this. It's like, whatever. Mm-hmm. So, and one thing about the Sonic movie, the original Sonic movie, when that happened, like I've never ever done this before, but when it came out in theaters, I was like, I posted on Facebook, I was like, please go see Sonic the Hedgehog in theaters, because they worked really hard to make sure we were happy with the way Sonic looked. Please go see it in theaters so, we can kind of pay them back and get a sequel. And I like to think that my begging and pleading worked, and people went to theaters because of me.
I know you weren't the only one. I had several friends on my Facebook and other social media accounts begging people to go see Sonic because of the work that was put in.
Yeah, I've never done that, and I probably
so the work that they put in on their redesign certainly made a difference.
Yeah, I can't recall another time when public outcries led to change of character or script in the movie.
That was like a drastic change. Like they had to
kind of sets the precedent.
Yeah, because you don't just create a Sonic and then put him in a movie. You have to like frame by frame change everything about him, and like that takes months. And so it's like, oh well, we can just change him and then put him. It's like he's not like an actor, you just like reshoots. It's like no, we gotta completely redo him. And so I'm glad they did. So
you guys have seen District 9, right?
Yeah.
Or no? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Neil Blomkamp, he was one of the directors. He was like the second choice after Guillermo del Toro to create a Halo movie back in the early 2000s, close to mid 2000s. Mm-hmm. But what we got was the District 9 movie. Peter Jackson was going to be executive producer of this Halo movie, and it was going to have really a dark take, perhaps a trilogy kind of in the vein of like the Lord of the Rings, try to be the next epic. But I guess there was some disagreement between Neil Blomkamp and executives.
That sucks.
I think 20th Century Fox, but I would have enjoyed to see Neil Blomkamp's version of Halo, what his vision was. But there's multiple clips on YouTube. He's done short films, played one that's like around 7 minutes long, and it kind of shows off of what we could have gotten, at least in a Halo, first Halo movie. But
that stinks because I like him. I like District 9 a lot.
District 9, and you see some of the weapons, like one of the rifles, it looks so similar to the battle rifle that's used in the Halo games, and the sniper rifle toward the end of the movie, it looks identical to the sniper that you can use in the Halo games as well. But yeah, I think Neil Blomkamp, he's still one at the end of the day to kind of show off, as he was a young director, and there was some trust issues on whether he could actually turn something. But
look at him now.
I think we're kind of going off tangent here, but I think he's writing the script for a sequel to District 9. I don't know what's going to be called.
Yeah,
but I'm looking forward to that because will that one guy will he be saved or what from the
He's
aliens?
a bug.
Yeah, he's gonna be a full bug in the next movie.
He's gonna be a bug.
Yeah.
I need to
You're
watch.
like, don't
that movie
squish
again.
me.
Have you seen? And I know we need to get back, but have you guys seen Chappie?
Oh yeah, I love
That movie
too.
is so good. I really enjoy that movie.
Very connecting with a robot.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
and it was like, because they made him like a child essentially. All right,
Mhm.
so is there? So let's get back on script here. Is there a video game movie that you like that maybe other people or you've read reviews and stuff, and it's just like universally bad? Kind of like you said earlier, is that guilty pleasure type movie?
Man, I really enjoy Prince of Persia. I think I've mentioned that on other podcasts.
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's really fun, and I saw it the first time I saw it was before I was really into film. So if I go back and I watch it now, I would probably pick it apart and not enjoy it. But when I was a kid and I watched it, I think it was 2010 when it came out.
Yeah,
originally. I would have been like 16 or something like that. Like I was full into that. I didn't even know if it was a video game. I didn't even know it was a video game
movie.
It was like this cool dude, Jake Gyllenhaal, and he's got this sweet ass knife that changes time and makes me go backwards. And it was dope. Like the whole movie was dope. He was ripped and there was sand everywhere, and it was a sweet movie.
He was ripped and there was sand everywhere. That's probably why you like. That's probably why you like.
Antithesis of Anakin Skywalker.
Was it you that said you liked the movie Sahara?
Yeah,
it's probably why, because Matthew McConaughey's ripped and there's sand everywhere. You just like movies.
Oh my god, we're discovering a trend.
Yeah. What about you, Zachariah? Any guilty pleasure video game movies?
I haven't seen them in ages, but probably Sonic the Hedgehog the movie. You've seen that from 1996?
No. Oh. Is it? It's an anime though, isn't it? Like
yes,
it's Japanese. Yeah. I haven't seen it. But
yeah, I have it on VHS, and that was my first exposure to animated, a TV version of the game I grew up playing, and that's where I learned about Metal Sonic. That's one of the main enemies in that. That is the main enemy.
Yeah.
That's like a secondary enemy to obviously Robotnik, but I just enjoyed the interaction between Sonic and Tails. It's rated 6.3 stars on IMDb, but there's other movies that are rated higher when it comes to Sonic films. But that one for me is a childhood.
Interesting.
I guess guilty of pleasure, and sometimes I watch it to these days. I mean, the VHS still works; it's not worn down, so I guess I haven't seen it down yet. Yeah, I think that's one of them.
That's one of them.
Yeah, Tomb Raider, the one with
Angelina
Jolie. Remember seeing that?
Oh yeah,
in theater. That was like 2001, I believe.
Yeah, she was ripped in that one too.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
There's no sand though, so
there's no sand though.
Yeah. I think she looks like Lara Croft. The face, the lips, everything. I haven't seen the new one, but Justin, have you seen both? How would you compare?
It's been a very long time. I do remember seeing the second one in theaters, but it's been I do like. She is like the live action version of Lara Croft,
spitting image
minus the triangle boobs, because that's what she had in the original PlayStation version was these pointy boobs that could cut diamonds. But
the graphics,
it was the graphics that made it.
Oh my god, the N64.
So anyway, but I do remember it being very action packed and all that stuff. So it was it looked like a Tomb Raider game on screen, it was like, but like I said, I've seen the Tomb Raider that came out a few years ago, and it was cool because I don't remember, I don't really remember the Angelina Jolie ones, but the newest one, it had puzzles, and I don't know if you guys have played the newest Tomb Raider games, but they're really good.
Puzzle based.
Yeah, I played the first and the second one. I mean, it's story based, but you can go you go into tombs and you got to figure it out and all that stuff. So I played the first and the second one. I haven't played the third one, but that was kind of the same for me. It was getting to see Laura Croft on screen, and it was really action packed. She looked like the new Laura Croft, because even the newest Laura Croft isn't as voluptuous as the old Laura Croft, because even up through like PlayStation 2, she still has these like giant boobs and this big butt, and I'm like, why does she have to look like this? So then they redid her and they made her look more like an adventurer type woman that would be like, works out and is fit and all this stuff. And it's like, she doesn't have these gigantic boobs. I'm like, she doesn't need those. And
have you seen Uncharted?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah. I was going to see it. I just, I played a little bit of the first game. I like Tomb Raider so much better.
They're both like adventurers, aren't they?
Well, it's like, you compare them as this. It's either the Uncharted is the male version of Tomb Raider, or Tomb Raider is the female version of Uncharted. It depends on which one you like the best. So for me, Uncharted would be the female version of Tomb Raider because I really like Tomb Raider. And I tried playing Uncharted. I just I couldn't get past a certain point before I was like, all right, I'm done. But I still want to, I have a PS4 again. So I really want to get the Nathan Drake collection and try it again. Cause I think I will really like them if I can get past, it's like watching a TV show. You get past a certain point. That's when, you
got to get past the first season.
Yeah. And so I just think if I can get past, push it out and play the games, I think I'll really enjoy them because they are just like Tomb Raider. They're both adventurers. They're both looking for treasure, and all this stuff. And so I haven't seen the movie mainly because I don't care for the idea of them casting Tom Holland
as Nathan Drake.
Yeah. They what they did was they're like, oh, you could be a younger version of Nathan Drake. Exactly. And it's like, dude, why do we have to? I mean, I like Mark Wahlberg and everything, but it's like, we don't need a younger version of Nathan Drake. Just.
I think Wahlberg looks a little bit more like Drake. I don't know. He's just, I'm more comfortable with a more established Nathan Drake as it is.
I'm with you. I feel like they use Tom Holland, and no offense to Tom Holland, please, if you ever have the chance, join our podcast. But I
love that.
I feel like they just use Tom Holland for the name recognition.
No, that's
like
totally
I mentioned before. They just throw out name recognition because they feel like if they use recognizable names, people will come and watch it regardless of the quality of the film.
Yeah. So I need to see that movie to properly judge. But
I was going to say I haven't seen it.
My parents have seen it.
It might be great, but that turned me off because I wanted kind of an authentic recreation of a video game. And when I found out that the main character was going to be like 20 years younger, I was like, whatever. I don't care anymore. I'll
see it. It's out now on streaming and Blu-ray and all that stuff. So it's out, and I have no issues with watching this movie. I like Tom Holland. I really do. He's a great actor. I was like, man, I really don't want to see a younger version of Nathan Drake. I don't care enough, but whatever, it's Tom Holland. I'll watch it.
It's like the shock of having The Rock be in a Doom movie, which he was.
He was, I didn't. But The Rock at the time, I think that's kind of that in between area where he wasn't as well known, but he was he wasn't as well known as he is now.
Wait, which Doom movie was The Rock in?
2000 and
Doom.
1 or 2.
Yeah, it's a live action Doom movie.
Early 2000s. And there was another one with Carl Urban and Dwayne Johnson. It was I think it is actually, there's only one actually with Dwayne. It's 2005. I'm looking right now. I haven't seen it, but just looking at the cover.
I'm only familiar with the 1984 version.
Well,
there's an 84 version?
Yeah.
The Doom movie? Wow.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I bet that's good.
Oh wait,
Doom with a.
Oh man, I missed.
Not Doom.
Forget everything I've said. Forget everything I've said.
Doom, the first-person shooter with demons. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
those
based off the video game. Dune is based off the graphic novel.
Yeah.
There was also a lot of bad reviews on that movie as well. Not that I wouldn't watch it. I want
to see it though.
I was gonna say I wouldn't. That doesn't keep me from watching a movie. I just haven't seen it. I did see the part where it does the first person, which is what Doom the video game is first person. So and he you see him the camera move and he shoots people and stuff, kind of hardcore Henry style. So I thought that was pretty neat. Now I'll watch it. I don't know when I'll watch it, but.
Yeah, Halo did that too with the first-person perspectives at times, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So
I've got a fun game for you guys, real quick.
okay.
I have a list in front of me. It's 49 of the top.
No, I already had that one. No.
Ranked by the tomato meter. Too late.
No. I already had it. I've had it up for like 3 days.
So have I. I'm gonna throw out three titles. I'm gonna throw out 3 titles, and apparently you can't play, Justin, because
no,
you've
I'm
seen
gonna
this.
cheat. Yeah,
I'm gonna throw out 3 titles, and I want you to guess which one has the highest meter rating. Okay. So we got one with the Angry Birds movie 2. We have Sonic the Hedgehog, and we have which one I want to pick? Mortal Kombat.
Which Mortal Kombat?
The 2021 version.
Okay.
The latest.
I already know the answer. Go ahead, Zach. You guess.
Angry Birds, the movie, right?
Yes.
You're absolutely right.
I win? I've even seen the movie, but just the ridiculous.
On this list, Angry Birds, the movie 2 is number 2.
Oh.
Yeah.
And number 1, since I know we're looking at the same list, number 1 is Werewolves Within, which makes me upset because I haven't seen it yet.
I was going to try to watch it before this episode, but I could not find.
That's a game.
Well, yeah, it's a game. It was for
Never heard of it.
PlayStation, the VR for PlayStation, and then Oculus and all that stuff. And the game is basically it's kind of like Among Us, where you got to find the imposter, but in this case, you find the werewolf, the person who's the werewolf. The movie is a little different. It's about a divided city who has to who's being forced into one room together, or divided town or village or something, who's being forced.
It's like a little town, and everyone ends up in the same old building, and and someone's a werewolf.
And there's werewolves outside, I think, that are attacking. Like, there's been a monster or something in the town, and I really wanted to watch it because I was like, oh, I remember seeing this trailer and stuff, but I couldn't find it even for rent. I either had to buy it.
And it's got the AT&T girl, the AT&T saleswoman in it. That's like when I watched the trailer for it. I'm like, oh,
she does movies.
I know her. I was like Leonardo DiCaprio, and me. I was like, hey, I know that one.
That's funny. So yeah, speaking of this list, yeah, we do. There is a list on Angry Birds on the Rotten Tomatoes. 49 video game movies ranked by the by Tomato Meter, and Werewolves Within is number 1, which is interesting because, like, I remember hearing about that movie, but I didn't, I kind of forgot about it until I got closer to this episode of the podcast. And I was like, oh. And then let's see. Sonic 2 is actually number 4. The original Sonic the Hedgehog is number 5. Mortal Kombat is number 6, the 2021. And then number 49.
I'm surprised when I'm looking at this list from Rotten Tomatoes, how quickly they drop off.
Well, like
from
Alone in the Dark is number 40.
Meter.
Yeah, Alone in the Dark is number 49, and it's got a 1%, which I've never seen Alone in the Dark. It's been, let's see. I'm trying to see, because
even the top 10 go below, like Monster Hunter, which is number 9. Its tomato meter is 44%. So not even the top 10 movies are considered, the majority of them are considered great.
Yeah. I like Monster Hunter.
Only the top 2 movies are above 70%.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of them and it quickly evolves from there. I think that it's kind of a statement of how like I was saying, how these production companies just kind of throw these names on there and expect us to gobble it up.
Well, Uncharted is number 13 at 40%. Prince of Persia is number 14 at 37%.
Yeah, but look at his shoulders, man.
And all that sand.
That sand.
The newest Resident Evil, Welcome to Raccoon City is number 19. It's at 31%. Warcraft, I don't know if y'all seen Warcraft. It's at 28% at number 20. Super Mario Brothers, which was going to be my guilty pleasure video game movie that I actually kind of like, is at number 22 at 28%, which it's kind of universally bad among people who like Super Mario Brothers. But if you take the name Super Mario Brothers off of there, and just call it something else. It's not a bad movie. Like, it's kind of cool. But the fact that they were like, we want to make a more adult version of Super Mario, but not adult, more realistic version of Super Mario Brothers. It's like, that was their mistake.
I remember being dumbfounded standing in the movie rental place when I was like 11, staring at the back of this DVD box, trying to figure out if the Mario Brothers in this film are the Mario Brothers that I knew, because they look so different. They look so weird, but it's got the name Mario.
It's totally
Mario
the same
deception.
The same thing. Yeah, it's totally the same
subverted
thing.
expectations.
Yeah, that's what they did. They're like, oh, we're gonna make this property and make it into a movie, and then boom, this is what we get. You know? Unfortunately. Let's see. Assassin's Creed is at number 13 with 18%. Doom. Not Dune, but Doom is.
I was like, Dune? There's a video game?
Yeah,
it probably is, but
is at number 33 with 18%. There's a few Pokemon. The Pokemon, the first movie,
Pokemon 2000.
Yeah, the further down
Pokemon,
the
the first movie,
starts devolving into animes and made for TV and stuff.
Pokemon, the first movie. I think that's where Mewtwo was introduced at number 36. Really? Yeah. Max Payne, which I watched Max Payne and I was like, oh, this is okay. It wasn't that great, but it was weird to see Mark Wahlberg in that kind of movie. It's at 38%. I don't know if y'all played Max Payne on the Xbox or the PlayStation 2, but number 38 at 15%. Street Fighter, the original Street Fighter movie. Did y'all watch that in 1994?
No, but I heard it's bad.
They made, here's the
I'd watch it just for the martial arts stuff.
Here's the funny thing about Street Fighter. So there's the games, Street Fighter, and then there's Street Fighter, the movie, and then there's Street Fighter, the movie, the game. So they made a Street Fighter game based off the movie. So the characters, it was like Mortal Kombat where they digitized real people. Does that make sense? So it's called Street Fighter, the movie, the game.
Oh my God, that's so stupid.
Yeah. And so it looks like the movie where it's like, because Street Fighter, like the game is very bright, a lot of colors and stuff. But then you got the movie or Street Fighter, the movie, the game is like darker because that's how the movie is. And, they got digitized humans and essentially stuff like that. So it's kind of takes a Mortal Kombat route. Some of these I haven't seen, like Wing Commander, Postal. I haven't seen those. Blood Rain. I've never seen the movie Blood Rain. I know the game though. Hitman. I haven't seen any of these. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which is the sequel that from the Mortal Kombat original Mortal Kombat game, came out in 97, is a number 45 with 4%. But I remember when that movie came out, and I thought it was really cool to see all these different characters like Motaro and Shao Kahn and like all these really cool characters from the game in a movie. Of course, at 97, I was 11 years old, so it's like, kid brain. And then number 49 is Alone in the Dark, which I've never played the game or seen the movie.
I'm not familiar with that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of familiar with it just because I used to collect games. I just never actually played it.
I like the critics' consensus though, and that on almost every level, Alone in the Dark may not work as a thriller, but it's good for some head-slapping, incredulous laughter.
That's awesome. Oh, it's got Christian Slater in it. And Tara Reid. We all love Tara Reid. Oh, geez. If you know Tara Reid, she was originally in American Pie, but then she kind of made it. I don't know if you call it a comeback, but the Sharknado movies, she's in those. So like I said, I don't know if you call it a comeback, but there has been several Sharknado movies. So I don't know.
I know Tara Strong. Not Tara Reid.
Tara Reid is an actor, like a live action actor, not a voice actor. She was in the American Pie movie. She started becoming big, and then she kind of dropped off the face of the earth with some stuff that kind of made her look bad. And then she kind of came back with these Sharknado movies. But it's like, do you really call that a comeback, or is it just she played in a lot of Sharknado movies? There's like 5 of them, right? So
publicity stunt comeback.
It's a franchise.
Well, Sharknado got lucky. That's a whole other. Okay,
Snakes on the plane.
Yeah, that's okay, but okay. Snakes on a Plane. We'll talk about that, but it actually has a pretty interesting story considering the content. You know, especially even the name Snakes on a
Human
Plane.
Centipede.
Okay, that's a whole that's a whole other thing. That's a weird movie, but
I don't want to see it. I don't want to see people's butts in each other.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. People sounds so
Just nasty.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, there's a bunch of other movies we didn't mention on this list, but like some of them I've seen, like Rampage, that has The Rock in it. If you have seen Rampage,
The monsters,
the
big old monsters,
big
It's a
animals.
good video game.
Yeah, and it helped like it's neat to take some like older video games like Rampage where they didn't really make anything past PS2. You know, the original, if y'all played Rampage, it's essentially you're destroying cities with a monkey, or the gorilla, not a monkey.
It's like a gorilla,
Donkey Kong,
an alligator, and a wolf.
And a wolf, and they have it. That's what they have in the movies where they get really big and they blah blah. Anyway, it is a pretty neat story, very action packed. I let my students watch it because there's a point where we weren't doing anything because of testing. So I was like, well, what movie do I want to watch? And they picked Rampage. So and I watched it. And I was like, okay, this is a fun movie. You know,
yeah,
giant monsters fighting each other and all this stuff.
Is it better than Godzilla?
No, it's not better than Godzilla. I mean, but I
different
really,
tones.
I mean, I really enjoy Godzilla, and I've liked Godzilla for a very long time.
Like I'm talking about like the Americanized ones, like within the past 10 years, the legendary ones.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I really like those movies. The story is like again, but it's just monster movies are just fun in general. So. Okay, so when I was doing some research for this episode, I came across this list called 10 Best Video Games Based on Movies. Now, I know we're talking about movies based on video games, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to quickly go through this and see if you've seen them or if you like them or if there's something that's not on this list that maybe you want to talk about. So number 10 is Batman on the NES. So if you guys have ever played this game, it's based on the 1989 Tim Burton Batman movie. If I remember correctly, this one is just like a side-scrolling beat 'em up on the NES, which is the original Nintendo.
I played that game on NES. I have it on Game Boy. That was one of my favorite games. I mean, it looks a bit different on Game Boy, but it's still Batman. It's based off the Tim Burton movie. It's like the Game Boy version. It's this little bite-sized looking. You have to look
Batman.
it up. Bite-sized Batman, and he shoots a gun. Harkening back to his comic book days when he shot people. It's fun though.
Well, they did
the soundtrack's wonderful.
When I think it was Batman Forever came out. That's the one with the Riddler, right? Batman Forever has Riddler. Okay,
and Two-Face.
Yeah. So I tried playing that game so many times, and it's on this. I played on Sega Genesis, and
I have it on there. Oh, that's a very tough game.
It's a very tough. I cannot get past like the first 5 seconds of that game. Like,
dude, that feels like all of Sega games though. Back on the old console.
It's
how
mostly,
long?
Go ahead.
Did you struggle using, where you use the grapple to get from floor to floor? That took ages.
That's why I can't go any farther.
Combo.
The controls are so freaking weird in that game. So I've tried on several occasions and
it's a kind of a creepy game too. It looks like they're like photographic images of like the characters. I don't know what you call that.
Kind of like Mortal Kombat, where they digitize people.
Yeah, the sprites.
I think it's a similar.
It's
technology or technique or whatever.
Okay, so let's move on. Number 9 is GoldenEye, which is Nintendo 64. Which, fun fact about GoldenEye,
it's such a good game.
Yeah, the multiplayer was added. The very last thing to be added. Game. Yeah, they weren't going to add multiplayer, but they decided to do it at the very tail end of the development of the game, and it's a good thing they did, because like that's why people play that game.
That's what made the game, my guy.
Yeah. The story, the campaign or story is fun, but man, it's so much more fun to get 4 64 controllers and just go at it.
The nights that I stayed up over at a friend's house, just
Yeah.
murdering each other. Oh my god!
Well, we've played
That
that. We
takes
played
me
that as
back.
adults. Even as adults, we played it with me and my friends because he still has a 64, and sometimes we'll pull it out and play it. Man, it's still freaking fun. Like the controls on it are really
Yeah.
good, and just like, it's not online. We have to be there with each other to play it. So we're like, oh
Yep.
no. It's just it's fun stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. Number 8 is a game that I'm very familiar with, and I don't know if you guys are, but it's called Little Nemo: The Dream Master. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
So
No,
Is it
Little
about a
Nemo,
fish?
No, it's about a little boy that he doesn't daydream when he goes to sleep. He has these like crazy fantastical dreams. It's almost like Inception.
lucid dream.
No, yeah, I guess so. I guess it kind of be a lucid dream. So it's because Capcom took players through the whimsical world of in Little Nemo, the Dream Master for NES. The game was a 2D platformer where players could take control of many different creatures and utilize their unique abilities. So it's a really cool game. You're playing as this little boy. He has purple hair, and he can jump on these different creatures and use their abilities. And so like if you need to climb up a large wall, there's a creature for that. If you need to swim, there's a creature for that. If you need to dig, so you feed them candy, they go to sleep, and then you jump on them, and you're inhabiting that creature. It's a really fun game, and it's actually based off a movie called what is it called? It's called Little Nemo. Slumberland. Oh man, it's an anime, and it's a really good movie if you've never seen it. But you should look up the movie, and if you can have access to watch it, yeah, watch it because it's a pretty cool movie. And then the game came to America later.
I'm coming up. Google's comes up with Little Nemo Adventures in Slumberland.
Yeah, I think that's the one. Little Nemo. Yeah, that's it. That's the movie, and it's a really cool movie. Little anime if you guys like anime. So
I do.
So yeah, we had this game as a kid, and it was very random how we got this game, and I don't know where it came from. I just remember we had it, and I played it, and I loved it, and I still love it, and I'm still waiting for it to come on the so Switch. Has the Nintendo Switch Online where you can play classic games and stuff, and I'm still waiting for it to come on that. I just think it's kind of one of those. It's a hidden gem that people don't really think about. Okay, and then we have Peter Jackson's King Kong, the game. I never played it. I played
it. I have it on PSP.
PlayStation?
It was on all the consoles. It was multi-platform. Yeah.
I never played it. I think my cousin had it though. I watched him play it.
Yeah, I've never played it. I don't even think I've seen that version.
I think you could play as King Kong and some soldier or some guy with a gun.
Yeah, I remember. I feel like there was a lot of like, what are they called? Like action commands. Like you had a.
Like timed commands.
Yeah. That's mainly what I remember about it. I don't know if I'm thinking of the right video game or not, but that's what I remember.
Mash the button multiple times to open to break the jaw of the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Break the jaw of the dinosaur.
Remember that? He opens it up.
Yeah. And then number 6 is Ratchet and Clank, which if you remember, Ratchet and Clank came out with a movie at the same time that came out.
PS2.
A movie?
Well, Ratchet and Clank came out in PS2, but they made a movie. When Ratchet and Clank came out on PS4, they came out with a movie, and they're both based off each other. I think it's animated. I've never seen it. I've played the game though. The game is pretty fun on the PS4, and I played the original games too. But they did make a movie, and then they made a movie or a game based off the movie. Anyway, it's kind of confusing how this one works because it was a game before it was a movie. So yeah, well, I guess it's kind of the same with Street Fighter, the movie, the game. Okay. Number 5 is Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. I've never played it, but I've heard good things. I've heard great things.
What is it? A role RTS or what type of game?
It's an RPG.
RPG.
You play like one of the kings essentially who become the ring wraith, but you're not really a king. You're kind of like half human, half ring wraith. So
interesting.
You're able to inhabit both, the physical realm and kind of like the little shadow realm that that Sauron lives in, and you're able to take over orcs and like use them to fight battles for you and stuff. It's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my brother really liked that game, and so I never got around to playing it. But it did look. I've never really played a Lord of the Rings game, to be honest with you. But
There's so many great Lord of the Rings games. Of all,
I'm waiting for that
like
Gollum game to come out.
I was surprised that there's a Gollum game coming out. What are you gonna be doing? Like slapping people, biting people?
Yeah.
A lot of sneaking around. I bet.
Oh yeah,
I would imagine.
I think if I remember correctly, because they announced this game a while ago, that it's like a stealthy game.
Yeah,
kind of sounds interesting. I mean, I have to read the synopsis, but does he have the ring yet? Is he obsessed, or is he just trying to find Bilbo? I don't know.
I mean, he's definitely got the ring. He's had the ring at least for a while because he's Gollum.
Yeah. Is it weird that he used to be a hobbit? He looks nothing like a hobbit now.
Okay. Real quick, I know we're not talking about movies, but when I watch Lord of the Rings, you see the human version, not the human version, but the non-Gollum version of Gollum, where he's like a hobbit.
Andy Serkis. Yeah.
But it was weird that he had the same freaking voice.
Well, that was him. He was a weird guy.
Yeah.
I was just It just seems like
you see what he did to his friend.
Well, he could have started off with kind of a normal voice and then gone to, like his whole physical shape changed. Like he changed completely. Why can't his voice change? Why did his voice need to be the same in the past? It was weird to hear this monstrous, creepy voice.
Well, come out of it. He was a river elf, I believe, a river hobbit rather. So maybe they sound different.
Oh, maybe they have a different accent.
Maybe it's a voice issue. His larynx is messed up.
Anyway, okay, let's move on. So then we have number 4, Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. I think I've played this game. I think I've got it as a free game on Xbox. Let's see, refining the aspects of the graphic adventure adaptation of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Fate of Atlantis tells an original tale that's free from the restrictions of another medium. Unlike other graphic adventure games, Fate of Atlantis had more than one solution to the game's many puzzles. Players could choose to use their wits, their fists, or their partner, Sophia, to get through the adventure. So I don't know if I played this game. I have played an Indiana Jones game, but it was more of a 3D platformer. Okay, so I guess neither one of you have played this game or any other Indiana Jones games. Okay.
I've never played an indie game.
Yeah, that's okay.
Indiana Jones game.
Number 3 is the Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay. I haven't seen the movies, but
Vin Diesel. That's all I know.
I've heard this game is actually one of those weird like where the movie isn't as good, but the game is really good. So I've heard good things about this game. Same with the X-Men Origins Wolverine, where the movie was like kind of crap, but then the game apparently is really good from what I hear. So it says a perfect example of a game that's infinitely better than the film that it was made to promote. Chronicles of Riddick.
That's rare. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mixed elements of stealth, melee combat, and first-person shooting to great effect in an atmospheric trek through a deadly intergalactic prison. That is kind of interesting. So yeah, I need to try that game. But I've heard that before I read this list that the game was so much better than that movie. So number 2, number 2 is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. I assume Jake.
Hell yeah!
I played on the PC back in the day.
I tried to play it on the original Xbox, and I did not care for it one bit.
What?
Yeah, it's a.
I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get off this right now.
Was it just the genre, the game with the dialogue?
Well, it was just because it's a turn-based RPG, right? Where you take turns. That's what threw me off. I was like, I hate turn-based RPGs. I'm not a big fan of them, and I just don't want to play. I like action RPGs, where I can go through and slice them with a sword. And I don't have to wait for him to hit me first.
I feel like it moves pretty quick. At least in Knights of the Old Republic.
I'll probably end up giving it another chance eventually, but not.
They're apparently trying to remake the game.
They are. They are trying to remaster.
I'm tired of remakes.
Yeah. Well, you'll never get away from that. All right, and then number 1. Can anybody guess what number 1 is?
No. Sonic the Hedgehog?
Battlefront?
Nope. Y'all don't want to take a wild guess there?
I just did.
Yeah,
Give us a hint. Give us a hint.
No, I'm not giving you hints.
Is it Star Wars related?
No.
I don't know.
Okay, it's Spider-Man 2. Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yes. That makes total sense.
And which I've heard several times that this is the best out of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man games.
And movies.
I totally agree with that too.
The swinging mechanics on that game were insane. Even the PS4 and the PS5 Spider-Man games, the developers went back and played through the original Spider-Man 2 video game to get the same feel for the mechanics as the Spider-Man 2 game, because they're so freaking good.
Yeah, the Marvel Spider-Man, the one on PlayStation, is so freaking fun. So it makes sense that they went back, because I've heard, the web mechanics, the more open worldness than the other game, it's just like, it's kind of one of those Spider-Man games where you can kind of do whatever. You don't have to, you're not stuck doing a linear thing. Because I played the first one. The first one was okay, and I played the Spider-Man game on PS1, which is
where the mouths didn't move.
Yeah, and there's like a narrator and everything, and so I enjoyed
those. Are classics.
Yeah, I mean it was fun. But the Marvel Spider-Man is so good, like it's so good. So I'm glad they went back and
the dude kind of looks like Tom Holland a little bit too, Peter Parker. He has like the similar hairdo going on.
Oh, he looks to me, he reminds me more of Andrew Garfield, because he's not, Tom Holland's a lot shorter.
Garfield has a skinny head.
Beefy.
He has a giraffe neck.
Yeah, that's true. All right, that's all for the movies or video games based off of movies. I thought that would be kind of fun to go through together.
That was a fun ending.
Yeah, well, real quick, I just want to one more thing I want to talk about, and then we'll be done. I did find an article that said Sonic 2 becomes the highest grossing video game movie in U.S. history. What do I think?
Good for Sonic.
Yeah, I think.
Who produced Sonic? Was it Sega? Did Sega actually?
Yeah, so it's a Sega. Well? It's a Sega original film. You see it at the beginning. It says Sega original film.
Dope. Sony, take notes.
Well, and I'm glad, because that means there's going to be a third one. It's like, it's going to be awesome. Hopefully, because it's got Shadow. I'm really excited for Shadow, because Shadow uses guns and he skates on his feet. So it's going to be pretty sweet. So yeah, I thought that was a.
Can you just imagine the developers when they came up with his character? That was like, what we could do to make Sonic cooler? Guns,
and let's have him skate on his feet. Let's color him black.
Roller skating's guns.
When I was watching the movie, it kind of made me think of Sonic 2. By the way, it kind of made me think of Power Rangers, only because like Power Rangers is like they're all color based, and so that's what I thought of with Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails. It's like blue, yellow, red. I don't know.
Missing Amy.
Yeah, and I think that's what people want. People want Amy Rose. I want Biggs the cat in there.
Need a love interest, yeah. Big, yeah.
Yeah, no, they won't put Biggs the cat in there. But I think Amy Rose would be cool to add, and then of course Shadow. And I think because Jim Carrey announced his retirement from acting, and so we don't know if he's going to be in this. And I was like, man, it'd be cool if maybe not this movie, but to get Metal Sonic in there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a damper. People are gonna be like, "Oh, I miss Jim Carrey." I mean, he made the movie for me to a degree. He made it enjoyable as far as like the comedy and all that. He added so much.
Well,
I don't know.
It'll be kind of sad.
Whenever actors or actresses say that they're going into retirement, I don't ever really believe them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna. Yeah.
All that means is they're going to be taking
a break.
Yeah. They always come back. There's always some sort of project or something that they're passionate about, something that they enjoy or are paid for or something.
Mm-hmm.
And they're gone for a few years, they're gone for a decade, and then something inevitably brings them back. And it's this great reveal. I wouldn't be surprised even if, and even when they retire, they still work on, quote unquote side projects and personal projects and things. So I wouldn't be surprised that even if he says he's quote unquote retired, we wouldn't at least get a cameo or something.
Yeah. this a couple things about Dr. Robotnik, and then we'll stop. And Jim Carrey. So right after he announced that, he came out and said he wants to see a fat Dr. Robotnik. So I don't know if he meant like get another actor in there to do a fat Dr. Robotnik or himself. So that kind of made me a little hopeful that
I
if
think
he comes
himself.
back, that if he comes back, it'll be because of a fat Dr. Robotnik.
I think he gets depressed after the defeat and starts.
Let himself go. Twice, 2 defeats. He does not just 1, but 2. And so and then what else was I going to say? Crap, I forgot what I was going to say.
I think if it's anything that interests him as a person, because if you followed the interviews with Jim Carrey, you know how his profession's kind of dealt on his mental health, and he's taken time away from the screen to work on that and really find out who he is, even to the fact that he doesn't see himself as an individual anymore. He sees Jim Carrey as a character.
Sounds like Daniel Radcliffe.
The Jim Carrey that we know is a character that he's played his entire life.
I could see that. He seems like that kind of person.
So I think so long as he finds a character or a part that plays to himself and that he can enjoy actually doing and actually feel impassioned and a part of the project as opposed for money, then we'll see him on the screen.
The Mask 2, a true sequel. There we go.
He said that.
I think he's just going to be more selective.
Yeah.
Bring back Cameron Diaz from out of her retirement. There we go.
And he can do that. He can be selective like that. Like he's like, I'm going to retire, but he can be selective as to what he does. And real quick, another thing about they would have to put Dr. Robotnik back in if they did a Metal Sonic, because Dr. Robotnik is who created Metal Sonic. So it's like,
but then again, they can always change the story because
they could change it. Yeah,
right?
That's true. They could adapt it to.
That's what a lot of that's adaptation, as you say.
Well, it's like Avatar, not Avatar: The Last Airbender, but the Last Airbender movie, where he creates the four bending nations, but they're all different nationalities, as opposed to the cartoon where they're not different nationalities. So that was kind of a big deal when that movie came out. So it's very like they could do something completely different where, the US government creates Metal Sonic or something like that.
I'd like to see that.
Alternate universe.
All right. So you guys have anything else you want to say about movies or video games based movies?
I'd just like to say, I wish there was a Gears of War movie.
Well, I think they're coming out
Gears
with
of War games.
Call of Duty.
Yeah. Oh my God! Oh, that's gonna be like Doom. That's gonna be like Doom-esque level of filth, probably. I mean, it kind of sounds.
Duty. That's just standard fair war movie.
Yeah.
It's just futuristic Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, as long as it's not like World War II and to potentially disrespect the greatest generation. Any other, I don't mind. Just as long as it's not World War II.
I think it'd be cool if it was more of a modern warfare.
The majority of video game movies out there are bad, but there's a few good ones, and they're getting better. So long as production companies and writers take the time and they realize that our generation has more refined taste, more familiar taste. We want movies to be good despite or no matter what they're based off of. So long as they take that into consideration, then we're going to start getting better video game movies.
Well, let's hope for the best on that one.
I don't have high hopes.
I was going to say, I really would love that to happen, but as far as that happening, it's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, but the state of video games as it is these days, it's different than, I guess, even 10 years ago. I feel like there was a lot more passion and time put into the games and the narratives, but I just feel like AAA titles these days, because I'm a big gamer, it feels like they don't come out with finished products, and it results in unhappy people.
Exactly. I just want to get them.
It's
out
like
there.
cash grab type mentality, like with movies, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Thankfully, we have indie games to keep us happy.
Yeah, or just remakes in general. Like I just bought. They did that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge, which is kind of a spiritual successor to Turtles in Time and all those Super Nintendo Turtles games, and then Sonic Origins, which is it's just like, I think it's Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles. But there's the classic mode, and then there's like a remastered version. So, they keep doing that. I'll buy games like that all day long.
Yeah.
These AAA titles that are kind of cash grabs, and they just want to get them out there so they can get the money, and then they aren't, turns out, having a lot of bugs and stuff. It's like, dude, just take your time. We'll appreciate that more than you just put it out there. Okay, thanks for listening. Again, please hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. We do read your comments, and we love your comments if you have them. So please, if you have any ideas for future episodes, let us know. And we will see you next week. So see you guys later.